Navigating change with confidence, skills, and strategies to thrive in today's editing landscape. So in this webinar, you're going to learn how to excel in the world of editing and post-production in these times of change. As we all know, a lot of change happening in this industry at the moment. And so I think, there's certainly some concepts, fundamentals I think we all need to adapt right now to move forward in this just ever-changing editing landscape. And so we're going to discuss that here today. I'm going to answer, like I said, all the questions, any questions you may have. I'm going to, as we go along through this presentation, again, type in the chat box. I might stop and answer some, but if not, or if you don't want to forget your question, type it in there. We'll get to it definitely at the end when we'll have a proper Q&A. Enrollment will open for the private HCM community. All right, this is a resource that I'm very excited about, that I'm offering to you. Obviously, it's if it's not your thing, I get it, no worries. But I'm just saying, this is opening up today for a limited time, and I'm going to give you an exclusive tour of the HCM community platform. This is super cool. I'm so excited about it, and I'm going to dive into it and show you what it's all about. So we're going to be doing this a lot to get through today. No doubt about it. So important reminders. Look, this is a disclaimer. Anything that I always teach and talk about, I always want to give this disclaimer. And everyone's path is different, right? But the strategy is the same. Look, well, if you listen to my podcast, you talk to people, everyone's journey is just completely different. But I do think that there's fundamentals that we can adapt and implement. And that's some of them, which I'll be discussing here today. But just remember that there's no set path, right? Everyone's journey is different. In the end, it's about putting in that hard work. There's no way around it. You got to do the work. I certainly cannot do the push-ups for you. I can lead you, can guide you, but in the end, you have to do that work. We all do. It takes a lot of hard work. The info that I'm going to be sharing with you today does not apply only to the film and scripted TV industry. All right. I mean, this applies to anyone wanting to work in editing, post-production, no matter if it's reality, trailers, commercials, corporate videos, whatever. Right. This applies to everyone. In fact, in the chat box, let's use it again. What are you interested in working on? I mean, what's your thing? Are you like film and scripted TV, documentaries? Just want to get a sense of what people are into. Scripted TV. Yeah, let us know. Animation. Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. Film editing. Yeah, I mean, let us know. So we also get to know you, right? This is part of what I'll be discussing today. A big part of it is communicating, what you're into, what you want to do, what are your goals. A lot of scripted TV. Yes, definitely a lot of scripted TV. But advertising. Awesome. Documentaries. Luis Cortez says, at this point, I'll take anything that involves editing. I get it, Luis. I get it. All right. And I do highly suggest turning off notifications on your phones. We got a lot of great stuff to cover. And want to make sure to get through all of it. And more than anything, get to your questions. All right. If you don't know me, my name is Joaquin Elizondo. I am an editor and the mentor. I'm creator of the Hollywood Editing Mentor Program and the podcast, and of course, a podcast host. I have 20 years of experience. I've been doing it over 20 years. I've been working in broadcast media for over 20 years. My first job was in local news as a videographer editor in San Diego back in 2002. I've edited commercials, promos, documentaries, corporate videos, music videos. I mean, you name it. I moved to New York City, no job, no contacts, back in 2011. And I started editing talk shows and sports programming for HBO Sports. Then I moved to LA in 2016, worked on low budget indie features and filled in on scripted TV shows. And eventually in 2018, got my first big break as a union scripted assistant editor on Narcos Mexico for Netflix. Up to that point, had always been an editor. But for me, I knew that, becoming an assistant editor was the best way to break into film and scripted TV, which was what I wanted to do. I got bumped up to a full-time union scripted editor in 2020, 2 years. it took me to get to the chair. And then I started this Hollywood Editing Mentor program and podcast same year, 2020. And then assigned with an agent and became an ACE associate member in 2021. So that's just a little bit about me. And these are some of my scripted TV editing credits. Some stuff I've worked on the last couple of years. Narcos Mexico, like I mentioned. Hot Zone Anthrax for Nat Geo. Dark Winds for AMC. And then most recently, Griselda. But some of the stuff I worked on, I'm very lucky, very fortunate to just work on these, high profile projects. So, all right, so where are we at now? Well, obviously we know things are slow, right? We know that. It's been a rough year or longer now. And we're going through this transitional period more than anything. That's the thing. Media companies are just trying to figure out a new business model. I mean, like with, so much short form content now. I mean, things like TikTok, YouTube, people or companies are just trying to see what people are into, right? Where to put their advertising dollars. I mean, what's going to make them money? They're all trying to figure it out. And no one really knows at the moment, to be honest. And of course, then AI, artificial intelligence, that's a thing. It's been a thing. It's being used more and more now, and it's here to stay, right? So that's been a big topic. Something that's playing a huge part in this transitional period. Jobs are going overseas. There's a lot of competition for jobs, right? Because the thing is, look, there are jobs. The work is coming back. There's no doubt about it. But there's a lot of competition. That's the thing. You're going to be seeing that a lot. Then you got this whole IATSE negotiation, right? And that's happening. And could there be another strike? Maybe. Me personally, I don't think so. But you never know, right? And so, I think the contract expires in July 31st. So, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of this. And look at things are starting to ramp up. I think we're going to see a lot of the stuff coming back, say by like August, September, October, right? They gotta settle also this whole contract negotiation. But there's so many things to this. I mean, again, it's a mess right now. Honestly, it's a mess. The companies are just trying to figure this stuff out. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I think it's just again, it's later this year. But again, like I said, things are coming back, and it's gonna come back, right? But it's gonna look different. And the thing is, it's like no one knows, right? No one knows where this industry is heading. Like, I don't know. No one knows. Don't even believe anyone. No one knows what's going to happen. But it's safe to say that things will keep changing, and we have to adapt to change. That's no doubt about it. Things are changing, right? Me personally, I can only predict where we're heading, but no one really knows. But right now, it's just important to adapt to this change. And more important is also that we got to step up our efforts to get what we want. We got to work our asses off. Because again, going back to what I said right now, it's competitive. And it's going to remain competitive, right? Again, I'm just going to talk about, say, for example, scripted TV. We all know, we all knew that this was going to happen, right? The bubble was going to burst. Peak TV is over. When we were doing, say, back in 2022, say, over 500 scripted TV shows, that's not sustainable, right? And so that's not very likely not going to happen again. So what? There's going to be maybe now 300, right? Okay. So that means that there's less shows, right? And so there's going to be a lot of competition. But again, what I'm going to be teaching you today here is going to prepare you for this, right? And to have a thriving career. Again, and I'm not only going to speak. I know there's a lot of people here want to work in scripted TV. I certainly work in scripted TV. But I've been doing this, I've had an editing career for over 20 years, and a very successful editing career. And I've done so many things, right? So again, these concepts, what I'll be talking about, apply to everyone, no matter what you're interested in. Yeah, Lisa saying Gone is a 22 episode show. So now more than ever, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about here today. Now more than ever, it's important to be focused and have clear goals. You have to just know what you want, where you're heading. That's very important if you want to start an editing career. You got to put yourself out there and stand out from the rest of the pack. Again, going back to this idea of, just competition, being so competitive, you have to really be out there, communicating who you are, what you're into, and like be consistent with it. Like you can't stop. You gotta make noise. Networking, that one of my favorite topics to talk about. I know some of you might not your favorite thing, but you have to really master, or at least be really, really comfortable with networking. Like there's no way around it. There's no way around it. You have to. And again, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. You got to learn how to sell yourself, and the value that you provide. There's a way to do it. And we have to think outside the box. It's not maybe what we were taught, say back in the day, or that applies more like to the corporate world or whatnot. I mean, like we have to get really creative nowadays. Of course, you got to keep up with the technology, especially AI, and learn several skills. We need just more tools in our toolbox, honestly. So again, let's dive into these one by one so you can just explore this a little bit. I like the comments. Geography is also important, says Brian. Not being in LA can hurt sometimes. I can say a whole lot about that, definitely. We'll discuss that maybe towards the end, because that's like a whole webinar in itself. All right, so we need to set goals. This is so important. We have to define what our ultimate goal is and what it looks like. Again, and why is this your ultimate goal, right? So if you, for example, a lot of people here are saying, they want to work in scripted TV. You're like, why? Like, really, why is that? I mean, like, in fact, type in the chat box, why is that your ultimate goal? Really dive deep into that and say, why do I want to do this, right? Because that's what's going to get you going on this path, say, in this case, for example, scripted TV, right? And it's also going to keep you on that path and motivate you, say, when things get tough, as we're experiencing right now, right? Your why is going to drive you. And so it's also important to have that goal, because it's, you can't be going around there trying this, trying that. I mean, sure, I believe in experimentation in the sense of like, trying to find out, say, what you want to do, say what kind of projects you want to work on. That's cool, I get it. But at some point you have to pick a path. You have to have a goal and say, this is where I'm heading. Again, because with things being so competitive now, right? You just have to be really, really, really focused. Someone has their microphone on. I would appreciate it if you could just, for right now, mute it and turn it off, and we'll get to your questions at the end. So yeah, it's really important right now to be focused, right, and to not be distracted by other things, and that's what it takes. Honestly, I mean, I know, for example, I mean, we all got to make money, right? We might have to go do like a side hustle thing or a part-time job. I mean, I get it, I understand that, but if you're, in this case, want a filmmaking career, that's your goal. You have to make that a priority, right? And so it can be tough, but there's ways to do it. But the main thing is it starts there. It's about setting those goals. What is it that you want to do ultimately? But more than anything, why? Josh, stories about people who are not like me have broadened my world, so I want to tell stories like that to continue opening up my world and the world of others. That's awesome. I love it. Filmmaking is the ultimate form of visual storytelling, and I'm an artist at heart. This is an art form. Been trying to narrow my focus for years. Awesome. No, I love it. And I get it. I get it. I was not, I got to say, for many years, I was not focused. That's the thing. For me, I went to study film back in University of Michigan. I mean, I studied film because that's what I wanted to work in, right? And so for many years, and I got to say like 15 years, I was out there not focused, right? And doing all these things like, taking just any job for a paycheck and this and that, but that was not what I wanted to do. Eventually, when I got to LA, I was like, all right, this is what I've always wanted to do. This is my goal. And I want to do this, and I'm going to make it happen. And I became ultra focused on, say, breaking into scripted, right? And I did it. But it was, again, really staying focused, not being distracted, really immersing myself in this world, and having this just like this literally this goal, this I can see the finish line there, and say, right, I'm gonna get there because why? Because I wanted to tell these stories. I wanted to work union projects, right? I wanted to make a certain living. Those are some of my whys, right? I wanted to work with certain creatives, and that is what kept me going until eventually I made my way into scripted. Austin, because I love telling stories that leave people with a feeling or memory they can't forget. Love it. Listen, I love helping people to tell a story. I am creative, but not the idea person. I work best to help people with their ideas. I get it. That's the thing. And as editors, obviously, we're helping to execute someone's vision. And that's, I think, also one of the reasons why I love editing. Put yourself out there. I mean, it's very simple, right, to say it, but it can be actually kind of tough for a lot of us to do it. But I can't stress this enough. I mean, you have to cut through the noise. You cannot be the quiet one. You really have to be out there communicating your goals and your personality, like literally telling people, like, what is it that you want to do? Like, what do you want, get excited about it. Show people that you're excited. Like, I want to do this. I want to, whatever it is. I want to work in documentaries and I want to edit documentaries. Like, be specific. And what types of documentaries, for example, right? Or what kind of stories? Who do you see yourself like working with, right? I mean, that's the thing. I love hearing people when they come to me and it's like, I want to edit because I want to work with, I wish I could work with this person, this director on these types of movies, this genre, like very, very, very specific. And it's like, I see them getting very excited. I get excited, and it's like, you just kind of want to help this person out, right? Or want to get to know them, right? So it's very important to, like, again, immersing yourself in this and being able to communicate, say, what you want to do, and then being very specific as to exactly, say, what kind of projects, artists you want to work with, and also your personality, like what kind of stuff you're into. Like, with this type of job, it's very collaborative, right? So you want to be with people that you get along with and maybe connect with, say, on certain things, maybe on music, I don't know, obviously films, food, I don't know, traveling, whatever, man, hiking, who cares, right? But it's like, also communicating like who you are, like what are you into, man? Like, let us know. And so, and a lot of this is like through communities, right? I mean, like joining communities, going to events, I always give a shout out to, like, say, Blue Collar Post Collective. Man, that was the first kind of like group or community that I joined when I got to LA, or things like Lassie Pug, and being out there, meeting people, and really chatting it up, not just, all the time, like just talking about work, but like, what are you into? And then hopefully you connect with people and then you start developing a relationship, right? But also putting yourself out there. And I gave this presentation at Lassie Pug recently. And like one of the first things I mentioned, about, say, how to find mentors is by putting yourself out there. And again, I'm just, I'll say it again. It's like communicating your goals and who you are, right? And telling people constantly and meeting people. And hopefully you find someone that you connect with. And look, you're not going to connect with everyone. That's normal, right? But I mean, it starts there. You're really letting people know who you are and not being the quiet one. You can't stay quiet, especially, again, at this time, you have no choice. I mean, if you do want to have a thriving career. And this goes with networking. I know some people freak out with this, right? Again, I understand it. I get it. But it is essential. I mean, like, I think, it's always been important, but I think it's more important, more so now, where things are heading, and again, how things are so competitive. And so you have to be really comfortable with it if you want to have a long career. Like, you really have to, be okay with it and, accept it honestly. I really think I do think that if you're not going to be networking, you're going to have a hard time, honestly. And so you got to also learn how to do it properly, right? Because it's about building relationships. That's what networking is really, really about. And, that can take time. Right? And you have to stay in touch with people. You got to nurture these relationships. And sometimes, things will happen faster than the other times, right? For different people. Again, like, you got to focus on your journey, right? But that's the thing. It's like really really doing it constantly, it never ends. Look, I'm out there networking, I'm out there doing it constantly. I'm in the trenches as well, and, look, for me, it wasn't always that I was like comfortable with it. But, speaking of Blue Collar Post Collective, I mean, like, that's how I used to practice. I used to volunteer at the registration table because it forced me to talk to people, right? And that honestly got me really, really comfortable with networking. I did it over and over. I mean, like, every month I would go sit there like for 2 hours and welcome people. And then I just got comfortable with it. And that's how I practiced, right? And now I love it, man. But I have to do it like nonstop. And I think it's just it goes on forever. It just literally never ends. And the thing is if you are shy, right, or just have a really hard time with it, I mean, like, it's, I would say find help, right? I mean, like, that's what, like, someone told me, a big A-list editor was like, hey, if you're shy, you have a hard time talking to people, like, if you got to find, like, go to, I don't know, therapy or something, like, by all means do it. Because you cannot be the quiet one, right? You have to be out there at these events, whether it be virtual or in person, whatever, but you have to do it. I mean, like, if you don't, you're again, you're just gonna have a hard time in this industry. So this is, I think, where it's at. It is about who you know. It is about, referrals. And again, and I'll speak for right now, like, the jobs that are going around right now, are from personal networks, right? You got to be in these networks. Because again, I'm hearing of plenty of stuff, and it's all through word of mouth, my own, like, personal networks, right? And even when something like, say, a job, you see it on, a job board, or like, on a, I don't know, job site, whatever it is, Facebook, I don't care. Like, that job has already been through, I don't know how many, professional networks right now, all right? It can't find anyone, or maybe no one wants to take the job, who knows? But also through your own networks, you get a lot of insider information. But anyways, this is, you have to, again, this is it right here. Networking is just more important now than ever. Brian says, EduFest LA was my first networking experience, but being a teacher has helped me get used to talking to people. Yeah, no, I can imagine that certainly helps. And I get it. Again, I get it. To me, honestly, it was something I had to develop and get comfortable with. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm just good at it. No, it took me a while to really fine tune it and see that it was really about, my approach to events was like more about like getting to know people, getting them getting to know me, and then building those relationships with people that I connected with. Like, really, that's the thing, because you're not going to connect with everyone. It's tough to really connect with people. And when you find that connection, like nurture it, right? Like, stay in touch. That's the thing. One of the things that I see from people is that that they don't stay in touch. Like, I'll meet a lot of people that I actually like, and I'm like, all right, they're cool. Like, I could talk to them again or whatever. Hope they write or write me or whatever. And I never hear from them. So, like, the follow-up is like probably even more important, right? So again, this is a whole webinar, right? But again, I'm just telling you, this is so important. And I understand you if you have a hard time with it, because I've been there. But again, there's ways to get better at it and just be comfortable with it. Selling yourself is key. Yeah, look, this is the thing, and I think it applies a lot to our resume, because it's not just about like achievements or qualifications on your resume, right? We have to really start thinking kind of outside the box and getting creative how we sell ourselves. What value do we add to someone or to a project, right? So for example, like me, for like resumes, like, it's more about, say, what solutions have you provided, on certain projects? What problems have you solved, right? Telling more of a story. Again, like, thinking outside the box, like, especially what we do in this industry as editors. I mean, like, we're not necessarily in the corporate world, right? So we have to get like a little bit creative with our resume and really also put in like more of our personality. Like, what are our interests? What are we into, right? Because this is such a collaborative job, and a lot of it is, long hours working together. So you want to know, you want to get along with people, and I know people who've gotten like jobs because, or at least interviews, I'll say, because like they'll have like stuff like hobbies or things they're into on the resume, and that gets the conversation going, right? Or at least get someone's attention, and it's like, I want to talk to this person. That's cool. I don't know, whatever, right? But really, what value, right, do you add to someone or to a project, and really selling yourself on more like, what solutions can you provide? What problems can you solve, right? And it kind of goes back to, putting yourself out there and letting people, again, just know who you are, right? And whether it be not only your resume, but say also like through a website, your portfolio website, right? You're selling yourself, right? And what you can do, but again, like who you are, right? Because a lot of it is like, I just want to work. This person seems cool. Like, I want to work with them, right? Getting very creative. Also, I mean, we could, again, a whole webinar on resumes, and how you present it, right? How you present it, and getting creative with it, can certainly grab someone's attention, right? And again, you get a callback, right? Or you get an interview, whatever, right? But, and it also goes back to just kind of standing, cutting through the noise, standing out from the pack, because especially now, again, now you post a job. I mean, that person is getting hundreds of resumes. I can't imagine how many resumes people are getting now, say, when a job is posted, right? So you got to cut through all that noise somehow, right? And so it's not only your resume, but also your communication. I mean, so many things, right? Where you're like, all right, I'm not getting put with the rest of the pile, right? And look at tech skills. I know a lot of you love talking about the tech. It's certainly important, especially nowadays. But look, we gotta embrace AI. It's not going away. It's here to stay, and so might as well start getting comfortable with it. I can tell you right now, for example, as far as for work, like say on a show or whatnot, like I still don't know of, me personally, of AI tools that are being implemented, say in editing yet, in the stuff that I do, say in scripted TV shows. But here, like at home, like on my own personal projects, I certainly use it. A lot of it I use in the audio space. So there's a couple apps there that I like. I've been using obviously ChatGPT, Descript, things like that, right? And so for me, it's just more than anything, getting to know these tools, right? And being comfortable with it, because that's, we're going to be using that more and more and more, no doubt about it. So you got to stay up to date with the technology, and not only just specifically AI, but like, again, things are changing so fast. Like, I don't know, like with all the, NLEs, right? The editing software, like what new maybe AI tools are implementing. Things are changing so fast, right? So it's good to just stay up to date. Don't fall behind, especially now. And gain additional skills. I think, here's the thing. We need to be able to do more nowadays. Unfortunately, that's the thing. It's like, I say unfortunately because, I think we're going to be asked to do more. That's the truth. And I'm not saying that I'm okay with it, but I just see that what's happening, right? And so we should be able to at least, I don't think, for example, if you're an editor, you have to be a master, like, at After Effects. Well, not necessarily, depending on what you're doing, but, look, can you navigate After Effects? At least get by, right? I can. I can at least use it, Photoshop, and again, all these audio plugins and audio tools that I use, especially because I do a podcast, so I've just been in that world a lot recently. But look at also, like, I used to be a videographer, right? So I'm good with cameras. I'm good with graphics. I mean, there's so many things that I can do. But it's like, but it's important to have that focus, right? So for example, I'll use that as an example. Like if you are wanting to be, say, an assistant editor, say in scripted TV, well, you got to sell yourself as an assistant editor, right? And not be, and there's a whole story about this. I think Will's here. Shout out to Will. And we got into this and he gets it. I mean, like, but it's like, yeah, you have all these skills. Yeah, but you're still selling yourself on being an assistant editor, right? Once you are there, say working on, say as an assistant editor, then yeah, okay, look, I can do this. I can do color. I can do graphics. I can do all this stuff, right? But as you're selling yourself, you have to sell yourself, be a little bit more focused, right? For whatever job you want to do. That's the job that I'm going for example, right? But I can then also do all these other things, right? But you're still selling yourself on one thing. You're still focused. And also, Will, if you're here, I did watch Dumb Money last night, and it's awesome. I love it. Congrats, man. So yeah, again, technology. Yeah, that's the thing. Right now, it's just you gotta stay up to date and keep up with it. And I know it's like a lot because there's so many tools out there. Someone was showing me the other day so many AI tools. I mean, there's so many. But it's just that's and we're gonna be using more and more. It's not going away. Might as well just get comfortable with the idea of AI in general. Also, so any cool tools that you use, AI tools, put them in the chat box. I'm curious. I'm always looking to find new ones. Again, I am more in the audio space, like audio cleanup that I use. What was the one? I forgot the names. Waves Clarity. Yes, that's certainly one of them. There's other ones in that space. I forgot the names because they're like brand new, at least for me. But anyways, yeah, post them here in the chat box. Firefly, yeah. I have not tried Firefly. It's like on my list of things to try out. 11 Labs, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so again, look at I right now it's and again I'll talk about what I work in scripted TV because I get this asked a lot. Like for example, what other things should I be learning? Should I be like should I do VFX stuff and learn After Effects? I'm like, well, look I think it's important. I think I would suggest my suggestions always, for example, if you're going to work in scripted TV. I really suggest like becoming really, really good at sound design, right? Sound design is like, and aside from the fact that I love, just doing sound design and audio, but it's a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's a little easier, say than VFX. And so I think it's like, yeah, really, really becoming good at that. If you're known to do good sound design, like people will, editors or people just want to work with you, right? But also, if like, for example, if you want to be, be good at or do good like VFX, like temp VFX, right? Just temp, then do that, right? But just kind of pick one, get really good at it, and then move on to the next thing, right? But you'll definitely stand out if you're able to do all these things. I mean, you certainly will. Like people, and again, especially now, we're just being asked to do a lot more in the cutting room, and again. We might all feel differently about that, but it's just that's where things are heading now. All right, so this past half hour, would you agree it's been time well spent so far? I mean, let me know in the chat box. You've been enjoying this. If you found it helpful, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know. What you thought about all this stuff. This is, I can't cover everything in this short amount of time, but what I wanted to just kind of touch on, because this is, again, I have a course dedicated to this stuff, right? But I wanted to, more than anything, is to say that really right now, moving forward, these things that I talked about, we really have to really hone in on and really be comfortable with, right? And because I know we're getting a lot of negative stuff from the media, and I know it's slow, but it also again, things are coming back, and I'm telling you this from my own personal experience. Like things are coming back. There's stuff out there, and so don't wait till the floodgates open. Get on it now. Start working on things now. Getting comfortable with networking, right? Or learning the tech. Wherever it is that you feel you need to work on, do it now, because yes, the floodgates will open. Now, are things going to be different? Yeah, again, it's going to be different, right? So that's also another thing, just understanding that things are going to be different, have to change our approach. But I think there's some things that we just, if we don't do it, like we're really screwed, honestly. And I think definitely stuff that I talked about today, like it's so important now, more than ever. And if we're not out there networking, if we're not putting ourselves out there, not selling ourselves, we're going to fall behind and get lost in the mix pretty quickly. Thank you. Thank God. Glad you are enjoying it so far. I see some questions already coming in. We'll get to them in a bit. I'm going to move on. You may feel even very overwhelmed by what I've shared on the workshop today. And look, I've only scratched the surface. Honestly, people I know here, people that are, in the HEM program, and we go deep into this stuff. Again, I'm just limited by the time. But I wanted to put it out there to at least get you thinking on what I consider is essential skills and strategies right now that we all need to adapt, implement as we move forward in these times of change. So again, I've only scratched the surface, right? We could stay here all day, honestly. And I'd love to, but fortunately I can't today. So let me ask you a question. How would you like it if I could help you with all of this, right? Again, if I could help you out, say getting better at networking and putting yourself out there and teaching you how to sell yourself, teaching you about the technology, someone asking here, how do you learn how to be a good sound design? Yeah, I could definitely, I could teach you that. I could, if I can provide a resource for you that would help you with all this and having your own private network and not only learning, but also like helping you develop certain skills and for example, getting over shyness, having, like I told you, my experience at practicing with the Blue Collar Post Collective, right? Okay, I can help you that way, help you practice just getting comfortable, say, talking to people, right? Let me know in the chat box. Would you like it if I could help you with this? Let me know, be honest. If you're like, nah, man, I get it, no worries, no. But just, let me know. Because I do want to help you out. Look, a lot of people help me out. That's the thing. When, I've been doing this now for, over 20 years, and I certainly did not do it alone. I've had the help of mentors, of communities. There's so much that has gone into my journey. And aside from me, obviously doing the work, because I had to do the work, but I've gotten so much support from people. And that is why I'm a huge fan of communities. And look, I decided to build my own, right? Because I just have my own vision for it, right? And of course, I have my own mentors. I still have mentors now. And so I can be out there mentoring people, but I also have to be out there myself getting mentored. Because look, the way to thrive and survive in this industry is to not go at it alone. That's what I'm talking to you about right now, is that especially now, again, moving forward and what the future holds, how this industry is playing out, we definitely cannot go at it alone anymore. We need a support system. We need a network of like-minded people, right? People who are on the same path as us, understand what we're trying to do, that just get it, right? And that we can help each other out, whether if it's, by sharing job opportunities or, just emotional support. Like, I remember, like, for example, I went through panic attacks when I was in LA. Then I got to LA, I couldn't find work. I wanted to quit the industry completely. And it was like communities, meeting other people that got me through those tough times. And that kept me going to say, like, all right, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna do it. At a time where I was like, man, I don't want to go, can't go much on any longer. I want to quit. Just simply talking to other like-minded people, venting, or getting new ideas, right? I mean, like, also, like, for example, like at networking events, it's not just simply, for example, out there to go find work. It's like, well, what can I learn from someone else? Like maybe they're doing something differently, right? And I certainly did. I mean, like I changed my approach on many things because I learned that from people or got ideas from people, say at networking events. But more than anything, I just realized that I was not out there alone, like say struggling and trying to, find my way to scripted. Other people were doing the same thing and were feeling the same thing as I was. And so we learned from each other, supported each other. And, look, I made it happen, right? But yes, nowadays, again, and talking about just how competitive it is, you need to be part of networks. I mean, like, and have those solid relationships where they're like, hey, you know what? I know this job, this thing is happening. I know this person. Oh, boom, boom, a text, a phone call, you're in. I think this is, moving forward, we just need to have a lot of help and support. So that is exactly what I want to talk to you about today as I'm opening up enrollment for the Hollywood Editing Mentor private community. And this is the platform. This is what it looks like. It's really cool. I built this myself, honestly. I spent several months on it. And this is so cool. I don't think there's really anything out there like it, to be honest. I know it kind of has this Facebook feel to it. And yeah, look, I took great inspiration from Facebook because I think they do community well. And but it's like a combination of like, I call it like Facebook and Masterclass, like staff me up, right? Because I wanted to create again, I had my own vision for a community. And I wanted to create something where, we could just access all this information, this knowledge, and get access to other people, like-minded people, and we can share jobs. And if we have questions, we can come here and ask them. If we want people to, take a look at our resume, right? For example, like I always remember like, oh, what does an editing resume look like? Our resumes, I get so many questions about resumes, right? And like, who can I go to or something like quickly access, like right away, right? Like I can send this and get feedback and, or a short film that I cut or a project, get some feedback, like pretty immediate feedback. So many great things. And so I decided to create this platform, online platform, that I'm opening up enrollment to today. We already have some people in it. And it's been great so far. And look, this community exists, honestly, to support your growth and help you reach your goals, right? We want to see you accomplish your goals. We're there to help you out any way we can by, again, providing, whether it be, feedback or emotional support, whatever it is. This is a community that is here to help you and that cares about what you're trying to do, and we're here to support each other. But why not I'm just going to show you the actual platform, give you a tour of it so you can see what it looks like. So here's the actual platform. And a lot of cool stuff here. For example, we have our video library here, tons of videos with like just different categories. I mean, I do this whole editing breakdown. We have stuff on money and finance, networking and cold outreach, resume, software and technology. And, we do these group coaching calls, right? So every month there's a group coaching call. And this is what we do. We are in here, I'm answering all your questions. Hi, listen. And we're answering all your questions, but also people are bringing in their resumes, their cold outreach letters. We've given feedback, live feedback on a clip from a documentary, provided feedback. I mean, you name it. I open it up to really honestly, it's your time, right? We go through whatever, again, questions, giving feedback, anything. It's your time. And also just hanging out, talking shop, getting to know each other. And so we do this once a month. That's what's included in this platform. And also we do have special guests. For example, we had someone come in to talk about S corps, LLCs, right? So we had a special guest come in and do a presentation on S corps. We've had composers come in, union experts come in, talk about answering questions about the union. So many cool things, right? So anyways, and this library will just keep on growing. It'll just keep on growing. More topics, more videos. It's just, it's ever-growing video library. Then if you are, and I know a lot of people here are wanting to do this, want to work in scripted TV. If you want to work in film and scripted TV, you can get access to my Break Into Scripted course, Ultimate Guide to Starting a Film Career in Film and Scripted TV. This is, I don't know how many, it's always over 50 videos in here. And again, we go from talking about writing effective cold outreach messages, how to sell yourself with your resume, how to master your networking game, I even go have a lesson on overcoming shyness for success. And then here's the thing. I have a whole module on the fundamental skills of an assistant editor. So, from project organization to how to get started on a show, your relationship with your editor, keeping track of music and VFX, the mystery of turnovers, building confidence in the cutting room. And then there's a whole section of industry insights. Just giving you kind of pulling back the curtain on the industry and talking about things like overtime, how many projects does an editor assistant take per year? At what point is it a good idea to find an agent? There's so many things. Do you need to be in LA or New York City to get that opportunity? Look at all this stuff. And then there's also a group coaching called Archive. There's just so much. And you can come here, you can start here. Do the new member challenge where I encourage people to, introduce themselves, right? Again, putting yourself out there. It's a good way to practice in a safe space to tell people who you are, what you're into, what you're trying to do, and we can figure out a way to help you out. And this is just through this platform. Obviously, we then have the group coaching calls where we're actually here on Zoom, talking and again, asking questions and discussing other topics, right? I encourage people to share their wins, again, feedback and advice, any jobs, right, that we know of, we'll post them here. If you want any help with software, and also fun, anything fun. We always talking about sharing funny things or cool stuff, events that are happening. Again, we like to have fun. We take this stuff seriously, but again, I believe in having fun, hanging out, and I also do some in-person events throughout the year that I host, and sometimes our members will go off and do events themselves. They'll meet up at a brewery, go watch a movie, go hiking. So many things, right? And again, it's this community of like-minded people. And that's just, again, where you can cut through the noise here, right? Look, there's a lot of stuff out there, public, and it's great, right? But this is focus. This is really, really focused here. People who are taking this seriously, right? And again, there's just not that noise that you would find something like, say, on a public Facebook group, right? We're just much more focused. So that's some of it, right? What's included in here in this platform. I'm going to hurry up a bit because I want to get to your questions, but it also, I want to show you one other thing. And of course, I have the Hollywood Editing Mentor Slack channel, right? So this is where it's just more immediate. We have a question, anything, someone shares their resume, or in this case, we're sharing our wins here, right? I like to really have people communicate what they've accomplished, and it doesn't have to be, anything, whatever, any accomplishment that you have had over the last few days or weeks, whatever, share it here. But this is where we get immediate access to everyone. We have different channels like wins or like the podcast, industry news, any ideas, events, advice. It's all here, but that comes along also with this platform. Bonus workshop in June. The Marathon Mindset Productivity Hacks to Accelerate Your Career. Again, I know, for example, like writing cold outreach messages, contacting people, being out there at events. It's work. It's work. And we're all like, oh man, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to do all this stuff. But I'm telling you, it needs to be done. So in this workshop, I'm going to show you how you can get it done, how you can really manage your time to be able to do, say, sending out cold outreach messages, going to events, learning new technology and still being able to, handle your daily duties, right? I mean, like being whatever it is, going to work, being a parent, whatever, but it's all manageable. And it's important to do so because we do have to dedicate time, and it takes time to, for example, send out resumes and cold outreach messages and whatnot. So look, I wanted to make this a no-brainer deal for you. I'm not going to charge you thousands of dollars, nothing like that. This enrollment opens today, and I'm offering 3 different plans. So I have a monthly plan, a quarterly plan, if you want to do by 3 months, and then also an annual plan, right? If you want to dive into it for a year, these are all the different plans that I offer, and they're open today. Enrollment starts today, right? And like I said, you don't have to go on this journey alone. We're here to help you, and we know you have a lot of things to bring to the table as well, right? We all need the support. We all need it. I do as well. And look, friendly warning, enrollment ends on Friday, May 24th. It's next week at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you there. And here's what to do next. Head over to hollywoodeditingmentor.com/community and enroll today. You can go there and find out more information, about what it offers, what it's all about. There's some videos there you can watch as well. But I'm telling you, this is. I'm so excited about this because it's a way for us to really stay in touch and learn and build relationships and help each other out. It's so essential as we move forward here with this industry and how it's changing, right? And look, I'm out there in the trenches with you, right? I'm out there, still trying to figure out how to, build my career and get more contacts and whatnot. I'm still trying, finding work and all this. I'm there with you. Right? But again, I've done it. I've been in this industry now for many years, and I've had a successful career. I've committed the mistakes, and now I'm doing all this so you don't have to go through what I went through, the hard times. But so head on over to hollywoodeditingmentor.com/community. And if you have any questions, there's a FAQ section there, or you can send an email to Joaquin@hollywoodeditingmentor.com, or I'm opening it up to questions now. We have some time. All right. Darren says it looks awesome. Benjamin, I love the focus on soft skills in addition to hard skills. Yes. Look, I really push the soft skills because I've seen it, man. Like when people are like, I've seen, for example, like great assistants, like technically, like with the hard skills, like they're awesome, but not so much with the soft skills. And I've seen how that has like prevented them from like advancing in their career. I've seen that. And so I'm a huge proponent of soft skills. But again, I don't shy away from teaching the tech because it's important. It's important. But at some point, you have to make that transition to really, really focus on those soft skills. And that's what's going to get you opportunities, honestly. Let's see, Alex, how do you keep your focus and accountable when trying something new, software or a new hobby? Well, good question. Look, I am, first of all, very big on time management, where I literally, if you see my calendar, like everything is like listed there as far as like what I'm doing, and dedicate time to say in this case, if I'm learning a new software, or like I say, all right, I'm going to give myself X amount of time these days or this week, right? And then because this time I'm going to go do this podcast recording, and this time I'm going to go, I don't know, have dinner with my wife. I mean, like, so everything is laid out, but that keeps me on track, right? And I say to myself, all right, I'm going to dedicate, let's say 2 hours to this software. 2 hours, I'm just going to hone in. That's what I'm doing for 2 hours. Whatever I can accomplish in 2 hours, I'll do it. So honestly, just having that helps me a lot. And also, again, going back to my goals, like what are my goals, right? I mean, like, if I know something that is going to help me out in my career, I know it's essential. Like I'm just going to stick with it, right? And it's going to hold me accountable and say, you know what, you need to do this because it's only going to help you out. You need it to, say, thrive in your career, advance your career. So that motivates me. I tell myself, right? It's like me telling myself, right, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to learn this. It's important, or else you're screwed, or else you're going to fall behind, right? I definitely don't want to fall behind. So that keeps me accountable. And again, a simple calendar, again, for me, just allows me to really manage my time with whatever it is, honestly, not just learning software, but anything, a new hobby or anything. I mean, like, for example, I just trained, I ran 2 marathons, right? That's so time consuming, so time consuming. And I'm actually taking a break now. I need a break. But, I had a whole schedule. I had it set up for months, right? So again, that's the stuff that I'm going to be talking about in that workshop in June. That's part of this community platform. Did you go to film school? I did not go to an actual film school. I studied film at the University of Michigan, their film program, but it's not a film school like, say, I don't know, AFI, right? Or I studied film and video studies, and that meant that it was very theory based. So we watched a lot of films and wrote a lot of essays. So there weren't a lot of production courses. The majority of stuff, like the tech that I learned, was honestly on the job. And it was back in the day when I started in local news in San Diego. But I also just on my own, I started on Final Cut 7 and doing it on my own. So that's how I learn is just simply like just doing it, like diving into it, right? That's how I've always been. But no, I didn't go like an actual like film school. But I did study film in college, right? And so, but again, it was a lot of theory. A lot of the tech I mostly learned on the job. Let's see, Eric, I've heard opinions on both sides about adding an interest section to an assistant editor resume for the sake of showing some personality. Your vote is yes to do it. Yes, absolutely. I do. Yeah, me personally, and you could just have like a section again, like, other interests or hobbies. And you can either like list just what they are, right? Whatever it is. Or I can hear someone, let's see. Someone I remember had like sentences, like really creative sentences about like their love for like, I remember like basketball or like coffee, which I read and I'm like, oh man, like it was interesting because one of my students, but I was reviewing the resume, but I was like, wow, like, and I told him, I'm like, I just like really want to talk to you, like from seeing this, right? And I remember like he was trying to get into film and scripted TV and did not have the experience, but like that section, like I was reading it and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know, like this is really cool. Like I really just want to talk to you. You seem like a cool person, right? And so, yeah, look, I see so many resumes. I get so many bad resumes, honestly. And I think that we could really, a lot of us can really fine tune that and really communicate more of our personality. And also just like what solutions do we provide? What value have we provided to other employers, and not just kind of listing, skills and, these like kind of formulaic like bullet points, right? That we've always, and the same like keywords that we use all the time, right? It's like, how do we get creative with what the text and also like the format, right? The format, like get a little creative. I'm not saying like put a bunch of like colors and graphics, don't make it so busy, but get creative, like stand out, right? How do you present the information? But yes, especially for an assistant editor, who does not have, say, the experience for a certain job, like again, say if you're trying to work in film and scripted TV, but you don't have the credits, I would say like lean into the personality, like lean into that, right? Because you want to distract people from the fact that you don't have the credits, right? It's like, all right, maybe you can get someone. Look, I've had it happen. My students have done it. You can listen to the podcast, say, with Haley. That's the big thing. She was my first student ever. And she connected with someone over golf. And she had just graduated from college during the pandemic where there was no jobs. And she landed a job right away before we even finished our one-on-one sessions. Landed a job, and it came from a conversation about golf. And I've seen that happen many, many times. So yes, I'm a fan of that. Lisa, do you have to edit templates people created in After Effects for, say, the opening credits to a TV show? No. I've never had to do that. I know assistants that I've worked, like, say, on the like opening an opening, like a main title. But like as an assistant editor, and it's not a lot. I mean, I know one or two people maybe, but like usually it's like putting kind of just more temp stuff together, and then eventually like a company will take care of it. But you know what? Now you got me thinking though. I have used it. I have used when I actually was worked on a short film, a side project on a short film. I did use After Effects to create the end credits of a film. Very simple. But no, never like for like on a union show. No. Eric agrees about the putting other interests on the resume. Yeah, I agree. See, Brian, I'm learning Resolve to get better at color. Is that helpful to give a temp look as an assistant editor doing dailies or something? Yeah, it depends. Yeah, for sure it helps. For example, if you are working on a union scripted TV show or film, and very likely you will have a lab that does the color for you. They'll probably implement like a LUT, a temp LUT, depending again on the budget of the project. Or if like dailies they look kind of wonky or whatever, you can go to the lab and say, hey, can you fix this? Fix the color. But also, look, I've been on like the high profile shows that I worked on, and where like say a shot is like a little dark or like maybe a little blue or whatever, and just so we have to go back to the lab and then like wait for them to do that and then send it back. I remember myself like just fixing the color a little bit, like in Avid. I mean, literally just fixing the white balance. Nothing crazy, right? So again, if you understand like the basics of color correction, great. Because in these types of projects, and I'm talking about like union scripted projects, you're gonna have someone that does that for you. But if you can facilitate that, say in Avid, you don't have to send that out, great. If not, no problem. Now, if you're working on say a non-union, say feature, right? Or indie movie, whatever, yeah, you might have to dive deeper into Resolve, right? I've worked on indie features, low budget, of course. And I've used Resolve to do dailies and all that stuff. And I learned a lot, honestly, from doing all that. But I just want to make it a point, though, or clarify that if you are working union, projects, you will most likely have a lab that takes care of all that stuff. But again, I go back to saying, well, why not learn the basics of it, right? Have that understanding of it sometimes, where you can be like, hey, you know what? Let's not send it to the lab. I'll take care of it here. I can do something here, something temp. Again, it's temp. It's temp. We all know it's temp. The professionals are, color people are gonna do that, eventually. So don't stress out about it, right? Learning more software and being comfortable with it, and being resourceful. That's the thing. It's being resourceful. Saying like, you know what? I believe in like being able to just figure stuff out. Like I'm very comfortable with technology. Like I've always been interested in it. I've always been good with computers. Like but I don't know every like software or app or, but you know what? I can figure it out. I feel comfortable figuring it out. That's the thing. It's like, you want to get to that point as well. And when you don't know something and someone asks you to do something you don't know how to do it, like, and be honest, right? Or say, you know what? Give me 30 minutes. I'll bring it back. Let me figure it out. Or give me an hour, whatever. Like, but be comfortable, like, and know that you can figure it out, right? That's the thing. It's like, no one was going to expect you to know everything. That's why I always tell people, like, yeah, you don't have to be an expert at Avid or Premiere. Like, you don't have to be an expert. Like, know the basics, fundamentals. That'll get you by. I'm still learning so many things, right? And that's why, like, in that Break Into Scripted course, I have the fundamentals, and what I like to say, like, to not get fired the first week, honestly, because that's what it is. That's what you need. And then you're always going to be learning. You're always going to be learning. Have those fundamentals. It's all in the fundamentals. What version of Avid were you and your team on for Griselda and your other recent shows? I have not worked or used anything past Avid 2018 on anything that I've done recently, including Griselda. There's a video on my YouTube channel. It shows you all the gear, my setup that I used to edit Griselda with. And it was a 2017 MacBook Pro running Avid 2018. So I know other people who are like other shows that are on the most recent version of Avid. But I have not used anything past 2018. I mean, it doesn't look as nice, right? But it works really well. Yeah, exactly. That's what Brian says. That's what I have. So we don't always need the latest. Just learn the tools. Exactly. I am. I actually, yeah, I am a firm believer that I don't buy into all this hype, this marketing hype, or about like needing the high end stuff. I don't agree with it. I mean, you got to figure out what you're using it for, right? If you need it, you need it. If not, I mean, like, but again, I cut Griselda on a 2017 MacBook Pro, with an external monitor or two external monitors. It was great. It worked great, honestly. Worked great. Is 2018 still available to install? I do not think so. No, I don't think so. I don't. I think Avid stopped support for that. Unfortunately. Any other questions? I'll be hanging around here probably till like 11:30, maybe a little bit later. But I really hope to see you in the community. Enrollment opens today, and it closes on next Friday. And again, if you have any questions, I'm here right now. You can send me an email. There's an FAQ on the website. Lots of information there. Josh, how do you learn how to be good at sound design? Oh, that's a great question. Let's talk about sound design. Well, I think, for example, look, it could be as easy as like simply watching your favorite films and TV shows or content, whatever it is, and just really focusing on what they did for sound, right? What sound was used at what moments and what types of sounds. I think also watching, but with the sound off, right? And then you kind of then start thinking about, what would I add here, right? What would I put here? And just, kind of start thinking that way about it. But then also just simply doing it. I mean, like, start getting, again, I'm like that, right? Just start diving deep into it. Get really anything, put it in a timeline and start adding sound effects. Just start experimenting, right? There's so much free stuff out there. There's a really cool app called SoundQ. I'll put it in the chat box, from Pro Sound Effects. SoundQ from Pro Sound Effects. Oh, sorry, not least this meeting. Okay. Yeah, it's an app you download on your desktop, and you can search for a bunch of free sound effects, or you can buy their library. But I mean, the free stuff is great, and by that, honestly, every time, like, I learn a lot from watching. When we do, for example, like our sound mixes, right? We'll do all the temp stuff in Avid, and then eventually we'll hand that off to the sound people, and then when I go watch that mix, what they did. And I'm like, oh my God, I never thought of that, right? And like, why would you put a sound here, a sound there, right? And so that's like now, when I watch something, and in general, it's tough for me to watch anything because I'm just like always looking at the cinematography and the editing and the sound effect, blah blah blah. But definitely sound. I pay attention a lot to sound, and then like seeing like why they would add certain sounds, and then also like maybe what would I have done, so that's certainly a good way. And then by watching, for example, watching someone do it, right? That's the thing. It's like watching how you do this, how someone would do sound design, actually watching it if you can. And it's certainly something that I've been wanting to do, a course about sound design. I just had of course, I'm limited with time, but that's something I've been wanting to do because it's such a big part of what, say, assistant editors do, especially in film and scripted TV. Yeah, Zone of Interest was, that was great. That was great. Definitely, I would say go watch that film. In general, it's a great, I think it was probably my favorite film of that year or last year. And, but the sound is, wow. Talk about great sound work. And that's the thing. I think maybe a lot of people might say, oh, you think of sound, you think of like, explosions and all this huge noise and whatnot, but that's why a zone of interest is, it's not that. But how you can tell a story with sound. And that's the thing. It's you're telling a story. And a lot of times, like sometimes like when I can't, what the funny thing is, like when I have a hard time doing or maybe I have a hard time with a cut, right? It's not smooth. I'm like, it's not working out. Sometimes I can just add some sound effects, get creative with sound design, and then suddenly the cut works. So sound is a huge part of what we do. And again, that's why I encourage people to really get good at it, honestly. Again, head on over to HollywoodEditingMentor.com/community. You can, here, I'll just show you real quick because we have a little bit of time. Sign off. Go to HollywoodEditingMentor.com/community. You can find out more information about this platform. Watch a little video there. And also see, some testimonials and experiences for people who are part of the community. You can see what they have to say. And you can see also, again, more information on what it includes. And again, like I said, we like to have fun as well. So it's important for connection. And again, it doesn't have to be everything about work. Love all our members. Been great working with them. And again, this is I don't think there's really anything like this out there, man. Like this is I'm excited about it. And we're always out there, sharing our wins, what we've accomplished. You can also listen to some podcast episodes with some of my mentees, my students. I mentioned there Haley, episode 18, who got a job after college. During the pandemic, we started working together at private one-on-one sessions. And she connected with someone, with a post-producer with golf on her resume. That was awesome. I mentioned Will, he worked on was able to break into scripted, and he took the break into scripted course and worked on the film Dumb Money, which I watched last night. It's a great film, great editing. George Lopez as well. George Lopez also started in local news in LA. And he came to me a while back, said, I want to work in scripted, and we worked together. And he is now, working in scripted, doing it as an assistant editor. And you can hear their stories and experiences here on the podcast. But our members have worked now for companies like Netflix, HBO, Sony, Amazon Studios, NBC Universal, Apple TV, you name it. There's me again. And again, there's an FAQ there if you have more questions. If you want to send me an email again, or I'll be here for about 4 more minutes. Awesome. I love it. I'm going to sign up when we are done. Lisa, I like that you made it a personal experience. That's the thing. It's about people. It's just me running things here. Like there's no one else. I do it. It's me. I'm here. I'm answering your questions. I'm doing it all. So, yes, I'm all about having that personal experience. That's the way I think that it should be. Amanda, when did you start looking for an agent? I am an assistant editor in the union, but I have far more editing experience than assistant editor experience, and I feel very ready to get back into what I've always done. I got an agent when I had 1 or 2 scripted credits. I think I had, let me be so specific, I had 2 co-editing credits, and I had 1 full, or maybe 2, I don't know, you know what? I had 2 co-editing credits and 2 full, sole editing credits. And really, I never, looked. It just it came to me through a contact, a friend, right? Speaking of networks and connections. So that's when, so I came, highly recommended from someone. And then I had enough experience, I think, on high profile shows that I was able to sign on to an agent. I think from what I can gather and seeing what other people go through, these agencies, for the most part, and depending which agency you go to, I signed on with one of the bigger ones. But there's other smaller ones, more boutique style, that might take you on if you have less credits, and so you never know, right? So and look, now I've moved on. Like I am now with another agency, and so there's videos on how to find an agent on my YouTube channel as well if you want to check it out. But yeah, I really like the smaller agencies, honestly, more boutique style. I think, again, talking about a personal experience, I think it is more of a personal experience with these smaller agencies. And also, they're probably going to be more likely to take you on when you don't have those editing credits. Now, ideally, you would want someone to recommend you. That's ideal. But I wouldn't wait for that. I would honestly just start reaching out, right, to agencies and pitching yourself. Right now, you're gonna have to pitch yourself as an editor, right? You're not gonna be sending like your assistant editor resume. Again, talking about resumes and how you sell yourself, you're gonna have to change that approach and really sell yourself now as an editor. But yeah, so again, you don't have to wait for someone to recommend you or refer you. Like you can just reach out to these agencies. I mean, there's so many. I think I listed some on a YouTube channel, or someone who's, let's see, I'm gonna mute someone. Yeah, I think there's one of my videos, I listed some agencies that are out there. I think the union itself has a list of agencies. I would also encourage everyone. Well, I would encourage a lot of people to get IMDb Pro. You can look there at what agencies are out there. You can see who's being represented by who. So much great information. Yeah, so that's a little bit about my experience with an agent. Again, you can find a video about that, 2 videos on my YouTube channel. At which point can you quit your current job and focus on becoming an assistant editor? Well, I mean, for me, to me, it's really about, a lot of it is it's the finances, right? It's kind of securing those savings where you can dedicate your time to being an assistant editor. At least that's the way I approached it, right? When I was trying to make my way into scripted TV, I made sure I had savings, right? And so and knowing how long, say, my savings were going to last. So I remember because it's important, at some point you have to start saying no, right? Talking about being focused and having a goal. It's if you want to be an assistant editor in scripted or whatever it is, in documentaries, whatever, it's all right, you're going to have to pick that path and go down that path and start saying no to other stuff. Again, what I was doing is just saying yes to stuff that wasn't going to lead me down the right path. So I was just taking on jobs because of the money. And I know, again, we have to make money, but at some point you have to say no to that stuff and focus on your goal, right? So what did I do? It's all right, I went off and worked on stuff that I wasn't too crazy about, but I did it just to, have some padding, some cushion, savings, right? So I saved up, and then I realized, all right, so this amount of savings is going to last me, 6 months. So I better make it happen in these 6 months. But if not, all right, I can go back to what I was doing, replenish my savings, and then do it over again, right? It's that strategy. But yes, at some point you have to just start saying no to the things that are not going to lead you down the right path. That's very important, because trying to balance both, especially now, that's tough. And you have to be focused, ultra focused, and also just putting in that energy into that goal, right? If you're out there and I've had this conversation recently with so many people, when you're out there just doing so many things and you're I don't know, I'm just doing this, that, trying this and that, you're just going to be really distracted and not putting that energy into what really matters. And that's what's required, especially now, because again, it is just much more competitive. And in general, I think even if it wasn't competitive, it's important to put in that focus into saying, this is what I want to do. And I'm going down this path now. And so making a plan, and in this case, a financial plan to facilitate that. A lot of it has to do with that, with budgeting and savings. I thank you for being here. It's time to sign off. I appreciate your time and hanging out here with all of us today. Thank you for your questions. Again, I hope to see you inside the community. Enrollment is officially open and closes next Friday. I hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, hit me up. Hit me up an email. You know where to find me. Or also, again, there's a lot of information on that website that probably answer a lot of your questions. But again, if it doesn't, hit me up. I would love to have you here in this community. I'm very excited about it. And again, it's me doing all this stuff, right? I'm about, again, I'm glad you brought up, Derek, like having that personal experience. I'm there answering your questions, providing feedback, advice, teaching you things. I'm there to guide you, right? I got your back. All right. So thank you very much again. Thank you. Thank you. This has been awesome. Thank you for spending this Saturday morning with me and the rest of the people here in this Zoom call, this webinar. And again, hit me up if you have any questions. All right.